Good morning, Year 8. Okay, so we're looking at our second lesson on the poem Vultures, okay, which is written by, I'm not quite sure how you say it, Chinua Achebe, okay. So, the first thing I want you to do today is to go to YouTube, which I've got open here, and I want you to type in the word vultures, okay, and then if you just type in CH, it brings up as the top search the name of the writer as well, which you might struggle to spell. So click on that, and then I want you to watch this video that's at the top here, which is somebody reading the poem. Ignore the next one, but then this one here where you've got the Nazi soldiers first of all. I want you to watch these two videos. So please pause this video now and go and find those two videos and watch them. Okay, welcome back. So we are moving on then today to look at the stanza 2 of this poem, but before we do, you're going to mark the answers that you wrote last time. So it tells you on the board that I expect really that you'll spend 10 minutes on this task, so you'll be marking your answers but also adding in lots of detail. Okay, so read the poem again. Does it make more sense now you've watched those videos, now you've done this thinking about it? It is a difficult poem, I think. It's something that's not easy to see the meaning. But like I said to you last lesson, it's important that we get over that, and learn to pick things out of a poem, because you do need to do that in your GCSE, so we do need to be focused on it. So, what's being described? It's vultures perched on trees, looking for food, ready to scavenge. I don't know if you know the word scavenge. It means sort of a bit like go through other people's rubbish and look for things, to help you. Where is it set? It's set in a wet, miserable place at dawn. There are dead trees there and waterlogged trenches. It's a horrible place. What do the vultures look like? Well, they look ugly. They're described negatively. They're described as having dirty, ugly feathers, and their heads look as if they're bashed in. Okay. How do they act? Although they look ugly and act in a disgusting way, they pick at the eyeballs, for example, of a swollen corpse, they still have love and affection for each other. They are leaning affectionately towards each other in a dead tree, okay? And you've got that poem there to find that stuff, okay? So this here is inclined affectionately to hers. Effectively, they had a bit of a cuddle, okay? So make sure you add to your answers, make sure you provide as much detail as you can. Pause the video and do that now. Okay, we should now have a rough understanding of what this poem is about. So I want you to reread the poem. You can do that by going back to the YouTube videos we've looked at the start of today's lesson if you want to, so somebody else reads it to you and you've got some images to help. But you need to reread the start of the poem and write down as many questions as you can think of. Now it says on the board, open questions. An open question is one that you can't just say yes or no to. Okay? And the reason for that is because it provides better answers. So we're going to use these questions in the next lesson, so it's really important you write down the questions. You don't need to try and answer them at this stage, so just the questions. And there are two suggested ones on the PowerPoint slide now. Why do vultures behave like this, and how are the vultures feeling? So please pause the video, write down those two questions and as many other ones as you can think of now. Okay, great. That's really useful. If you wanted to, you could send me some of the questions that you've written down, either on Show My Homework or by email, so that I can see those and directly talk about the questions you've written next lesson to help you to understand the poem better. Okay, so feel free to email those across to me, or just send me a message on Show My Homework and I will then use those. Pause the video. Oh, you've already done that. Sorry, we're going to move on then now. Okay. Okay, task 3. So this is the next verse of the poem. Strange indeed how love in other ways so particular will pick a corner in that charnel house, tidy it and coil up there, perhaps even fall asleep, her face turned to the wall. Okay. Now, the first thing to notice about this is that love is personified. It's made to sound like a person. So it talks about how love will pick a corner, and then at the bottom she'll turn her face to the wall. Okay, so obviously love doesn't do that. Love's not a sentient thing. It's not alive. So question 1 up at the top. What do you think of when you think of the word love? Okay, so for me that might be my parents, my kids. It'd be about family. It'd be about happiness and time together, maybe. Okay, so lots of positive describing words there. For question 2, a charnel house. It says in the poem, strange indeed how love in other ways so particular will pick a corner in that charnel house, tidy it and coil up there. So a charnel house, and you can see one in the image on the slide, is basically a place where people store old bones and skeletons. Don't ask me why people need to store old bones and skeletons, because I'm not sure, but that's what a charnel house is. So would you expect that to be a place where we encounter love or romance? Tell me why or why not. And how does that link to the first verse of the poem that we looked at last lesson and mark the answers today? Okay. Question 3 at the bottom. The poem says that you can still find love in horrible places. Why do you think Love's turned her face to the wall in the charnel house? Why is she, looking away rather than looking through the room? What is it that she's trying to ignore? And what does the poem say about love? And I believe that then I want you to come up with a spider diagram. So start to plan. You can do it as a list or a spider diagram, I don't care which. Some ideas that you think the poem is about. And you've got 3 examples on the board to help you. So complete task 3. Think about those questions that are on the board and do some writing about each one. You should end up with a chunky paragraph for each question. And when you've done that, you can move on to task 4 and start to make a list of things that you think the poem is about and why you think it. Okay? And I will see you then next lesson. Take care.